Why to write a literature review? Dear students, it's a question which must be known to you. That is already discussed. We need literature review for a number of reasons. And we explore literature review because research is always based on something which is, the token of cooperation. And this token of cooperation exists among scholars. So whatever is the topic and wherever it is carried out, wherever it is explored by a researcher, is documented, and that is then shared with, the report is then shared with others, right? So when you study those reports, those research papers, theses, dissertations, and you use them for your own study, that is called literature review. So why is literature review important? That is the question which should be answered in this session, okay? So there are major purposes of a literature review. And the first one, for example, is that to prepare a proposal for funding, right? So since funding agencies, they need proposals. And in proposals, you are actually proposing something as a project, and then that proposal is evaluated, right? And the funding agency or agencies, they explore the the topic of the project through the proposal, and they refer to various studies that those which are basically mentioned in the literature review. And the literature review is basically proving that that's something which is latest, which is recent, and which is important, right? So those evidences are given in terms of the literature review, right? So literature review is important for funding proposals, and then it is important for writing down proposals for academic degrees. Like in your case, when you would write down a proposal, that would be your research proposal, and that research proposal is particularly for the award of a particular academic degree, right? Like for example, MA thesis, right? MA thesis is basically for the award of MA degree. Similarly, MPhil and PhD theses and dissertations, they are written for the award of academic degree. And those academic degrees need literature review, because whatever you are exploring as your topic and your topic under investigation, those are basically proved in light of the existing literature, right? So literature review is again important for academic degrees. And then literature review describes and explains current knowledge to guide professional practices, right? In literature review, we would come to know that about a particular topic, that how it is viewed, what is the latest context, the latest idea, or the latest practices about that particular topic, right? So that current knowledge is given in the literature review, right? So that's another important point, that literature review describes and explains about the current body of knowledge regarding a particular topic, right? Then literature review identifies effective research and development methods, right? So effective research and development methods are, identified in literature review, right? And the effective research methods are basically used in research studies. So when you explore, the latest literature, the current literature, then particularly you are identifying those materials, those instruments, those research designs which are explored by, scholars, and the latest form of those methodologies and instruments. So when you explore literature, existing literature, you come up with the idea of those latest forms of, developmental methods, right? Then literature review identifies experts to take help from and to interpret the existing literature, right? So when you explore existing literature, you would definitely know that where are those particular centers, where are those particular research groups, and who are basically the most latest experts of the area. So you would come to know about them through existing literature, and you would be in a position to take help from them, right? So those are the points which are given. And in literature review, we actually also identify unpublished sources of information, right? That how can we take the unpublished sources of information, like, for example, MPhil or PhD theses, which are not yet published, or incomplete monographs, or incomplete research projects which are going on. So in this case, definitely we come to know about those, unpublished sources. And then literature review also identifies funding sources and works in progress, right? Funding sources, for example, there are researchers which are funded projects, right? So who are funding them, and which donor agency is interested in what sort of projects, right? So that's the knowledge which is given by the literature review. And the most important point about literature review is that it satisfies your personal curiosity, right? So when you read literature on a particular study, on a particular point of discussion, or the topic under investigation, you also satisfy your personal curiosity, right? So those are the points which are given. And the literature review also give you some control over your experiments and observations, right? So the experiments which are used by researchers and the observations which are there and which are used by the experts, those are discussed in literature, and finally those are known to general public. Okay, so the systematic, the explicit, the comprehensive, and the reproducible, these are the phrases which must be known to researchers, that why do we survey literature, why do we review literature, and what is literature review, right? So it is systematic. Systematically you go through existing literature. You may be going topic by topic or in a chronological order, right? So you are going in a very organized form, in a very systematic form. And then it is explicit because you are documenting, you are recording. So it is explicit. And then it is comprehensive because you are exploring latest literature, recent literature. So you are providing us with a very comprehensive knowledge of the area. And then you are reproducing your, providing your own voice in the foreground and your own voice as a commentary of the, the existing literature. So these are the points which should be known to a researcher while exploring existing literature.